Okay, good afternoon. We're back with Judges chapter 14. Samson's riddle. One day when Samson was in Timnah, he noticed a certain Palestine woman. When he returned home, he told his father and mother, "I want to marry a young Palestine woman I saw in Timnah." His father and mother objected strenuously. "Isn't there one woman in our tribe or among all the Israelites you can marry? Why must you go to the pagan Philistines to find a wife?" But Samson told his father, "Get her for me, she's the one I want." His father and mother didn't realize the Lord was at work at this, creating an opportunity to disrupt the Philistines, who ruled over Israel at the time. As Samson and his parents were going down to Timnah, a young lion attacked Samson near the vineyards of Timnah. At that moment, the Spirit of the Lord powerfully took control of him and ripped the lion's jaws apart with his bare hands. He did it as easily as if it were a young goat, but he didn't tell his mother or father about it. When Samson arrived in Timnah, he talked with the woman and was very pleased with her. Later, when he returned to Timnah for the wedding, he turned off the path to look at the carcass of the lion, and he found that a swarm of bees had made some honey in the carcass. He scooped some of the honey into his hands and ate it along the way. He also gave some to his father and mother, and they ate it, but he didn't tell them he had taken the honey from the carcass of the lion. As his father was making final arrangements for the marriage, Samson threw a party at Timnah, as was the custom of the day. 30 young men from the town were invited to be his companions. Samson said to them, Let me tell you a riddle. If you solve my riddle during these 7 days of the celebration, I will give you 30 plain linen robes and 30 fancy robes. But if you can't solve it, then you must give me 30 linen robes and 30 fancy robes." "All right," they agreed. "Let's hear your riddle." So he said, "From the one who eats came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet." 3 days later, they were still trying to figure it out. On the 4th day, they said to Samson's wife, "Get the answer to the riddle from your husband, or we will burn down your father's house with you in it. Did you invite us to this party just to make us poor?" So Samson's wife came to him in tears and said, "You don't love me, you hate me. You have given my people a riddle, but you haven't told me the answer." "I haven't even given the answer to my father or mother," he replied. "Why should I tell you?" So she cried whenever she was with him and kept it for the rest of the celebration. At last, on the 7th day, he told her the answer because her persistent nagging. Then she gave the answer to the young men. So before sunset on the 7th day, the men of the town came to Samson with their answer. "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" Samson replied, "If you haven't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have found the answer to my riddle." Then the Spirit of the Lord powerfully took control of him. He went down to the town of Ashkelon, killed 30 men, took their belongings, and gave their clothing to the men who had answered his riddle. But Samson was furious about what had happened, and he went back to home to live with his father and mother. So his wife was given in marriage to the man who had been Samson's best man at the wedding. Oh, jeez. Judges chapter 15. Samson's vengeance. On the Philistines. Wow, I can't read today. I'm so sorry. Later on, during the wheat harvest, Samson took a young goat as a present to his wife. He intended to sleep with her, but her father wouldn't let him in. "I really thought you hated her," her father explained, "so I gave her in marriage to your best man. But look, her sister is more beautiful than she is. Marry her instead." Oh, that's nice. Samson said, "This time I cannot be blamed for everything I am going to do to you, Philistines." Then he went out and caught 300 foxes. Wow, that's a lot of foxes. He tied their tails together in pairs, and he fastened a torch to each a pair of tails. Then he lit the torches and let the foxes run through He burned all their grain to the... Oh, I see. Okay, I thought he was harming the foxes. He burned all their grain to the ground, including the grain still in piles and all that had been bundled. He also destroyed their grapevines and olive trees. "Who did this?" the Philistines demanded. Or Philistines. "Samson," was the reply, because his father-in-law from Timnah gave Samson's wife to be married to his best man. So the Philistines went out and got the woman and her father and burned them to burn them to death. Because you did this, Samson vowed, I will take my revenge on you, and I won't stop until I'm satisfied. So he attacked the Philistines with great fury and killed many of them. Then he went to live in a cave in the rock of Etam. The Philistines retaliated by setting up camp in Judah and raiding the town of Lehi. The men of Judah asked the Philistines, Why have you attacked us? The Philistines replied, We've come to capture Samson. We have come to pay him back for what he did to us. So 300 men of Judah went down to get Samson at the cave in the rock of Etam. They said to Samson, Don't you realize the Philistines rule over us? What are you doing to us? But Samson replied, I only paid them back for what they did to me. Oh, geez, that's a lot of payback. But the man of Judah told him, We have come to tie you up and hand you over to the Philistines. All right, Samson said, but promise that you won't kill me yourselves. We will tie you up and hand you over to the Philistines, they replied. We won't kill you. So they tied him up with 2 new ropes and led him away from the rock. As Samson arrived at Lehi, the Philistines came shouting in triumph. But the Spirit of the Lord powerfully took control of Samson, and he snapped the ropes on his arms as if they were burnt strands of flax, and they fell from his wrists. Then he picked up a donkey's jawbone that was lying on the ground and killed it. 1,000 Philistines with it. And Samson said, With the jawbone of a donkey, I've made heaps on heaps. With the jawbone of a donkey, I've killed 1,000 men. When he finished speaking, he threw away the jawbone, and the place was named Jawbone Hill. Now Samson was very thirsty, and he cried out to the Lord, You have accomplished with this great victory by the strength of your servant. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of these pagan people? So God caused water to gush out of a hollow in the ground at Lehi, and Samson was revived as he drank. Then he named that place the spring of the one who cried out, and it is still in Lehi to this day. Samson was Israel's judge for 20 years while the Philistines ruled the land. Okay, and later I'll be back with chapter 16.